All right. It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 1st, and we're going to open the special meeting replacing the Committee of Committees meeting. Do roll call, please.
Yep. I have trustees for Sample.
Here.
John Talbot.
Here.
William Luxinger is absent. Nathan Moz is absent. Jen Christensen.
Here.
Bill Motisi.
Here.
President Rick Worm.
Here.
Treasurer Brenda Onabany.
Here.
My clerk Sandy Monson here. Public Works Supervisor Brett Fergie.
Here.
Engineer Matt Hanson.
Here.
Difference in our meeting this evening is that we can vote.
Yep.
That's why we have a special meeting rather than standard committee meeting.
Why are we having a special meeting to vote on what?
Under finance, we'll get there.
It was in your board packet, Bill.
Ms. Clerk, I can read. Thank you. And I don't mean to be harsh.
No.
My question is this, Mayor.
All right.
Why do we have a special meeting just to pass one item?
Because
No, this is a normal meeting date, but we changed it to a special meeting so that we can vote on that one item. No different in how many meetings we're having.
I understand that. Okay.
We just changed the format. Okay.
Thanks.
Entertain the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 4th, 2022 Committee of Committees minutes.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to approve the October 4th, 2020 committee meeting minutes. John seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Did we get all ayes?
Yep.
Sure.
Motion passes 701. We reported the officers. For me, nothing on the agenda. Just had a great Halloween last night. It was a lot of fun seeing all the kids out hopping around. They wiped us out quick. We were done in the first hour and a half. Sandy?
It's that time of year where we can discuss the 2023 meeting dates. I included in the board packet and have up on the screen the average meeting length that we had on our meetings last year. I'm sorry, for the last 10 months worth of meetings. There was a concern last year when I asked to cut back to 2 meetings and you guys agreed on 3 that we would still increase the length of our meeting minutes, and they have gone up by about 10 minutes. So that's good to see. But I'd like to then continue to have the discussion that I, again, don't feel that it is necessary that we have 3. I think that a regular and an admin every other week would be sufficient enough to pay bills and do the village business with an occasional special meeting as needed for whatever
Committee. You're talking like it's getting ready like the Committee of Committees.
So it would get rid of this meeting and just replace. We would still have meetings as needed by Rick for special things if we needed it. But our meeting times really have not gone up significantly with the removal of the meeting. And I don't know that the village business will be hurt by having one less. And as I've discussed before, Rick has put a lot of authority and in the supervisors and a lot of trust in us to just manage the day-to-day business, where a lot of that used to be done by the board. So I just don't know that it's necessary.
And I'm available.
Yeah. And I mean, Rick's available as needed. So we do stuff in-house now like it should be. Administrative tasks are handled by Rick instead of by the board.
So I'm not opposed to that, but I think that if we're going to go to that, then we should change the compensation for the meetings from $50 to $75 because we're probably going to end up spending more time at the 2 meetings instead that we would have had 4 meetings from before.
You're still saving 50.
Can somebody make me a motion to allow Nathan Moz to participate remotely due to sickness?
I'll make a motion to allow Nathan Moz to participate remotely.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to allow Nathan Moz to attend remotely due to illness. John seconds. Any discussion on that?
Is that one of the things?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Illnesses. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All nayd in, 704.
Nathan?
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah. Great. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I knew you.
That was good.
So, I mean, again, understand that can only be done if it's not done within 180 days prior to an election. That will only affect the following election. If we decide to change compensation, it does not take effect immediately.
But we're not within that 180. Otherwise, we couldn't pass the thing now.
You can pass it. It just will not take effect for the next election.
So right now we are outside of the 180, which is why we have a special meeting tonight. we're 3 days outside of
Okay.
180.
So we're 183 days. If we pass it now, it would take effect for whoever gets elected during the next election. And then the following election, but it would not pertain to those who were already elected. So if you and John are reelected, it would pertain to you, but Jen and Nathan, it would
I
not.
don't care. I'll vote on
They
it.
would not get it until the following election cycle.
Alright.
If they're elected.
So Nathan, I know you came in the middle of that conversation. We're discussing the meetings and reducing them to 2 a month. And Chris had made the suggestion that he's fine with the 2 a month, but to deal with the increased length of the meeting, maybe increase the trustee compensation to 75 a meeting for just the 2 meetings.
Okay.
He's talking, but I can't hear him.
I said, okay.
Of course, that wouldn't affect you, sorry.
Well, right. No, in person, I mean, just because I'm the one in this role, I don't, the mayor's pay needs to change.
Isn't the mayor already getting 75 per meeting?
Yes,
And it would be the same.
it just doesn't, it
Ah.
stay the same.
So we're gonna go up to 75, what they're proposing.
Only if we approve it, we would go up to 75, but
Right.
only have 2 meetings a month instead of the 3 that we've been having.
Mhm.
So your compensation really wouldn't change. You just wouldn't have to come in 3 times.
Are you making that suggestion that, so that's the caveat? So if the resolution passes as is, we stay at 3 meetings, and then if it changes, we go to 2?
I think we need to decide
I'm just trying to decide if one is contingent upon the other.
Because in the future, we may go to 4 meetings again.
Right.
That's true too.
No, well,
You know what I mean?
I think if.
We don't know what the future.
I
holds,
wasn't
how many
considering
meetings, right?
going to 4 meetings
Yeah.
again. I was
But
thinking.
we don't
that
know what the
we're-
future will hold.
But if all of a sudden we
It-
gotta start having
it-
3 or 4 a month, that's not really. fair
Yeah,
to the other
it may
half
go
of the
back
board.
that
Well, I would agree with that.
So that- yeah, but you can't just change it once we just couldn't say, well, I'll just take 50.
But you
could.
put it in there as a note that if it's 2 meetings a month, it's $75 pay. If it's
Over
3 to
2.
4 meetings a month, it's $50 pay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you could, yeah, if you
What?
can write it that way.
Hold
Yeah.
on, let me
What?
get this language. I see what he's saying.
You could,
Okay, so who's gonna keep track of it?
I
Okay.
am keeping track of it.
No, I mean, like when
Oh.
you pay.
Well,
when
you
I-
wanna know your-
pay
that's the hard part, so.
For the month.
Well, it would be pre-scheduled for the year meetings. So if the schedule for the year was 2 meetings a month, it would be 75. If the schedule for the year was 3 meetings a month, he's asking for it to be 50.
Right.
Right.
So it would
gets
be
changed
determined
back.
at the schedule for the year.
But it wouldn't be a month to month where you have to figure it would be based on the pre-approved meetings.
No, but we
If
would
have a special
schedule, we would
meeting, let's say
schedule,
we have a special meeting.
You'd all
we have
be 50.
4.
It'd be 50 then.
Stays at 75. If it goes to 75 and we only have 2, if we have a third special meeting, it will stay at 75. We're not gonna bounce back and forth between them. It's only in case we decide to change the schedule.
But in the future, the next
Right.
round could.
That's why we'll put it in there.
So-
If the next people decide they're gonna go to 3 meetings a month or 4 meetings a month, it goes back to 50 for each of those meetings.
I mean,
That's up to.
So this is a-
You
in my
can change that
opinion-
As long as. it's
So
within-
this is a discussion
we would have to have yearly.
In my opinion.
well, just,
You have a yearly anyway.
yeah, you should have a yearly anyway.
So the determination of the meeting schedule has to be made before the
Right.
year starts.
Mhm.
So that discussion will always occur.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So we have that.
Compensation cannot change that often.
No, but I'm just saying like our meeting schedule would change yearly depending on how we decide what needs to be done.
That's why you'd have to, if you're gonna change it, you'd have to have the language in there that would revert it in case you went to 3 meetings or 4 meetings a
Right.
year or a month.
Right.
Okay, but then when you have, then that would interfere, like if you had a 4th meeting for a special meeting, then that would put off all your.
It would
From-
still stay.
Like
Is it gonna be a
budgeting or
scheduled
something like
meeting?
that, or
But ain't gonna change the
Well, she-
budgeting because you already scheduled budgeting for all the.
So-
Well, I'm just saying,
Then
if we schedule 2 and we have 3, it still stays at the 2 pay. If for some reason it goes back to 3 a month, it drops that $50. If you have a 4th, it still stays at the $50.
The one-off meeting wouldn't change the,
So does that mean that I should pay the trustees monthly instead? Because otherwise,
actually, that's
I'm
not.
fine
a-
with leaving
The
it
first-
there. Personally,
like
I'm
the
fine
first-
with leaving
you know
it the
what I'm
way it
saying?
is.
Well, you can't
First
really do
week's
that because
75
people
the
have to
special-
show up to the meeting. That's the point of.
Yeah, at the end of the month.
Yeah, but there's still.
Well,
So I see what Brenda's saying though, because if we move it to 75 and we only have 2 meetings a month and they get a special meeting, that special meeting is also at 75.
No, that should be, anything over 2 meetings goes to 50. I wouldn't pay the third meeting at 70.
This is too confusing.
Yeah.
That
And
and
you
it's
get,
confusing.
we're going
That's why
down a rabbit
just-
hole.
I'm
Just
absolutely
leave
fine
it.
with leaving it like it is. So the committee level meetings, we discuss things that typically don't get voted on. And we get them set up. So when we walk into the regular meetings, that's why they went faster, was because we provided that.
So you want to leave it at 3?
I would leave it at 3.
As you see, that's not what's happening though.
That would be fine with me too. I mean.
Well,
That's
either,
not what's happening.
let's do it one way or the other. Either you have 2 meetings at 75 or 3 meetings at the 50 and.
You can
I'm-
always
what-
cancel like we do now.
Well, that's up to
I
you.
mean,
Well, we saw what happened when that occurred.
Yeah, I don't like canceling them if I've planned it and I'm gonna, and
Again,
I'm expecting to be there.
I'm fine with leaving the schedule like it is.
That's fine with me too. Does anybody want to change the schedule? Then we don't even have to discuss.
I think 3 is fine and I'll be more flexible towards the 2. It just caught me off guard.
All right. Bill,
But whatever works, it doesn't matter.
You know, I'm used to the old 4 meetings a month. Or, even if you left it at that and we brought it back to the way it used to be. Admin's one thing, public works, I mean,
I'm sorry.
finance
Which
was
were you in
another,
favor of? 2 meetings a month or
not
3?
public works. but
Long time.
You know, you know the way I'm talking
2
about.
meetings or 3?
Well, okay, so
Those are the
to
choices.
go back to what Bill was talking about,
Nah, I'm not-
you're talking
not
15 years ago, we ended this. Was that you had a committee level meeting that was streets and ditches and utilities.
No.
And then you had a committee level meeting that was finance and,
Ordinance enforcement, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like, everybody talks about their stuff at the meeting anyway.
But-
Then you
That
right.
doesn't make any
And then
sense.
you
And the point was that we were having committee level meetings and then some people that weren't informed about it, so we went to the former committee of the whole.
Yep.
Man, we need to switch that committees back to a committee of the whole,
Nope.
because we're back to that.
2 or 3, Jen?
Um,
I like leaving
I'm
it.
good the way it is.
All
all
right.
right, it
Nate,
is.
2 or 3?
I say leave it the way 3 it is now.
All right, then we're in agreement.
Idiot.
But I do lean towards now, because I do enjoy my Tuesdays. If none of us turn anything into the agenda, because that's just it. I mean, we all have to become more diligent about putting on the agenda. If Sandy has a blank agenda, I mean, in reality, then, I mean, there is some merit to why are we coming?
Absolutely.
So,
That's why when
I
she sent
think
me
we
the
all should
agenda
have
with
to give
nothing
that a
on it.
little more consideration. If I don't take my due diligence and don't let her know, because I mean, I understand what you were saying, but
Still should
I
be
understand
by
what she said.
consensus.
We know her deadline is
And if you
whatever,
want to
her-
cancel, but I don't have a problem with that, but it should be kept by the consensus.
or the
I'm
agenda.
sorry, I can't talk to all of you
Yeah.
together without.
Well, I understand, but we can easily.
Well, we can come- we
When,
can
when,
have
so when,
anything-
when it comes down, you guys have till Friday to get your stuff in, the Friday before. the-
Yeah, and I think if it's
If there's
blank,
nothing on that agenda and she calls me and says,
She
"That's
could.
for the agenda," I'm gonna kill her.
we
Well,
could.
that's really not your decision. to make.
you're gonna kill what, Rick? I didn't hear that.
No.
You're gonna kill
Board
what?
votes on the meetings, so it isn't go ahead.
He is the keeper of the agenda.
Yep.
With no agenda, there is no.
So
meeting.
you just gotta remember to turn something in every week if you want to have a meeting.
All right,
If you got-
whatever.
So let's.
But there are
if I
times
cancel
we
the
don't
meeting.
I
And
just
there was
like
board
people
wanted one,
to
they
ask
could
me if I
schedule their
have
own.
anything. That's all. I just like people to ask me if I had anything, because the last time we canceled it, we almost had something. We didn't end up
True,
doing it,
but-
but we almost did.
But that's the responsibility.
But
of
it was
the
at a
meeting.
last minute thing. I
Then
didn't
call
have
me,
any.
you got my telephone
Utilities.
number.
Well,
Call me, text me, even if on a Wednesday, you're like, there's an inkling I might have something.
Cause we have up until Saturday night post.
No,
it's okay.
Yep,
So-
which or Sunday night at 7 PM, which I have posted at.
Oh, sure.
So if we run into something,
That way, thank you though. That way it's fair to everybody.
cause she will
Yeah.
call me, we
But
will
I-
set it up and we'll go from there.
Huh?
Responsibility back to the trustees, because the clerk used to call and text.
Yeah, that's,
And email
No.
everybody, and it's so consuming to make sure everybody responded.
that was like
fast
them
enough.
writing our rail articles. We should have wrote our own rail,
Yeah, and nobody
not plagiarizing.
did it. Thank you, Jen.
You might have.
I was
There's
like,
lots of I did and it never got put in there anyway.
One just copied. it.
Jess used to write some nice articles though. I did appreciate
what's that?
it. Jess wrote some nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Rick, what were you
Oh.
talking about killing? I didn't know if it was a
Oh,
whole meeting or,
if-
or an agenda item.
If by Friday there is nothing on the agenda, I will not have the meeting.
Okay.
The committee level.
Vigorously.
The admin and the regular meeting, we still gotta pay bills.
Something.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
all that being said,
All right.
Matt, what are you doing on the fourth Tuesday of every month?
That's fine.
Perfect. I'm gonna move you to that because that way committee stays more flexible.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm fine with the one meeting a month and finishing at 11:30 at night. I mean,
No.
go back 20 years ago.
That's before my time.
Bite your
So
tongue.
that way Matt's always here because we'll always. have-
I was here
Yeah.
with the 4 meetings a month where most of them ran till 9, 10, 11 o'clock.
When we first started, it seemed
Yeah.
like they did.
I don't run that kind, Rick and I,
When
we're
I
a good team. We
when I
don't
was
run that kind of ship.
No, we tried to streamline everything where it goes.
You
You were the
fast.
one
Will you be
making them
okay
late
if
with
I
all
move
your
you to the
times
front?
from the
That
office.
shouldn't be a problem.
That way it leaves the
Yep.
committee flexible.
Rick, I do have another question.
Oh,
Okay.
You were making them long.
Where will our residents find out about this meeting from the other minutes, right? From the finance that we had
When
last.
will they find out about this meeting?
My
month
question-
from now.
Okay, what was the last meeting we had? Finance, right?
Last week.
No.
Admin.
Admin.
No,
I'm gonna look.
Last
Yeah.
Tuesday?
I had to think about today. being
Last Tuesday's
November.
meeting?
Yes.
Last Tuesday's meeting was the admin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Admin, okay. When will our residents read about this tonight? I mean, that this item was gonna be on here tonight.
1 month.
One month.
now.
It's already passed and done, and they won't know about it until
Hold on. The minutes or the ordinance?
first, the minutes,
The minutes are always approved by statute, state law,
right?
within X amount of days or the next regularly scheduled meeting. These are
Okay.
always done at the next
Okay.
regularly.
So like right now,
scheduled
we just
meeting.
approved the committee meetings from last month because this is the
No.
committee meeting.
I understand that.
Well, they can
As-
see
as
the
far-
video anytime,
Yeah.
right?
The video is usually up by Thursday if I'm in the office.
So the residents can
And-
know by Thursday if they watch the video.
I don't want to put any responsibility on the residents to do this or that. That's up to them to have free choice. Now, what I'm saying is,
We're not changing.
as far as transparency goes, they won't know about that we discussed this last week until a month later, correct?
No,
Or
They can.
they see it on the
Thursday.
video.
The video is already out.
That's not what I'm.
I'm not going to rely on the video alone because the minutes are the only thing that take precedent over anything.
Well, the
Correct.
video, the
Not
video, the
And
video is
and the
verbatim.
and the minutes.
And it is what takes precedence until minutes are approved.
Correct.
Literally, so the minutes are a general outline of what happened. They're not verbatim. The video is verbatim. It's us talking.
Minutes are for somebody looks back years from now, they can have a general consensus or idea of what the
General
meeting
idea
was
what-
Of
about.
what was discussed at the meeting.
But
Not-
but
not in
that's
detail.
what
What they're
the
for.
residents want to know.
No, I just, somebody beat that in my head. So I
Video is
thought-
by far the best
Wait, just a second.
option to see how.
Might heard it
people
from
are talking and
Sandy
stuff
or I
like
don't
that.
remember.
Hmm.
Sounded good. So.
That's why we
What-
start putting out the
okay.
transparency.
No, the public is always a month behind.
We'll go.
No.
They don't need to be.
They could be at the meeting if they'd like.
They-
to be.
they-
Get a
now,
website.
They don't know, okay, there's no residents here tonight because they did not know that, they may have known that it's going to be a special meeting to vote just on this one item.
Mr. President,
The agenda, which is statutorily required to be posted 48 hours in advance on our website and on the front door.
I
and
know.
So they are notified well in advance. In addition, the meeting is listed on the village calendar on the village website. There are 3 places.
That
can
sounds
find-
convoluted to me.
Make your point though.
Okay, my point is that we should not be doing this until a month from now, or whenever it is that we should vote on this, and not just have a special meeting because we're out of time. And the residents do not have an equal opportunity to look and see what we're doing and what we're trying to change.
We're not.
Bill, we just
No.
okayed our schedule to stay for 3 meetings a month.
We're not talking,
That's not what he's talking about.
I'm not talking about that.
He's talking about the 45 days.
we're not
To get
comfortable
your-
with that
We're
one.
not to
Right.
there yet. We're not even that yet.
That's right.
45 days.
He's
Yeah,
talking
he
about
was
the
talking
ordinance.
for the meeting.
Oh.
Is that what he's talking about?
No,
About us.
if we change our
changing
meeting
our
schedule.
But we're not.
We
It's
didn't.
staying the same. So therefore, we don't gotta let anybody know.
But Bill, anything we did tonight follows the statute, state statute. Any way we approve the meetings that happen a month from now, follow the state statutes. Us putting the video up ahead of time was something I wanted when I first started as president of this.
Right.
Is to get.
And that's what I
transparency out
wanted
to people.
also for a long time. But what I'm saying is that the public is not going to read about this in the minutes from that admin meeting until it comes up again, the admin meeting.
I would put money on it, Bill, that
They're
people,
not reading
probably
it.
more people that watch the video than ever read the minutes.
But we're
I
not
don't
gonna
think-
change anything, so,
I
I'm
don't
trying to
think,
figure out what you're worried that they're not gonna know about.
yeah.
I have no idea what's going to be on the agenda or the change or the things that we're going to talk
Our
about.
agenda has to be set 48 hours in
I
advance.
understand that. This is
Obviously
getting-
not.
This is, no, you're trying to convolute anything and everything I say. We
No,
shouldn't be
I'm-
voting on this tonight. That's all what I'm saying.
We actually don't need to vote on it. We're not changing it.
We're not changing
All the
anything.
way, the 45 days we are.
Oh my
Blend it.
God.
But that's
Yeah.
on here.
Thank you for your input.
Is it?
Yeah,
No,
it's
don't
under-
thank me for anything. We
All right,
should not be
Glenn,
doing this. We just now, even if you try, even if we tried to raise our salaries or reduce our salaries, we couldn't even do that.
You can.
Right now, you think you could do that?
You can do it for whoever gets elected at the next election
Mhm.
at this point.
180
Next week.
days.
we
But the
can't do it
public
till-
would not know if we raised all
Oh,
our,
God.
if we raised everything tonight,
They
okay?
wouldn't know until next.
They
month.
wouldn't know till it was too late and we would never hear what they think about it or what
No,
they
actually you
want to
would,
do
because-
until it's too late and it's already law.
No, that's wrong, because.
No.
No, it's wrong, because it's gonna change for after the election. So they would know 6 months ahead of time that it was going to change after the election.
But
And
they-
then they can vote for the people who were changing or not, if that's what they wanted to. So
They would
Yeah,
not.
it is.
to the public.
It's convoluted because,
No, it's not complicated.
yes, it is,
No,
because the
no, Bill.
residents would not know
They will,
way in
they
advance
will.
of what
5
we're
months.
doing.
Bill, they would. know
5
6
months.
in
Until
advance.
after we vote on it, yeah, then it's too late for them. That's what
No.
I'm saying.
You're not listening.
All right, can we just move on?
It would give the residents 6 months prior to the election to
There you
know
go.
that whoever's gonna get elected will be paid at that rate. The other people that are on this board would still sit at the same pay rate until the following election, so that if anybody wanted to run for that increased pay rate, they could.
Mhm.
But we're not changing pay rate. Everything's staying the same.
Yeah.
Everything's remaining the same.
So don't get on your soapbox later, Bill, and
Hey, tell me about
The
soapbox,
monthly bill
Mr.
stays the same, Bill.
Talbot. Let's get something straight here, huh?
Nathan,
The monthly bill stays the same. The monthly pay stays the same.
everything.
Yes.
everything's easy.
The meetings may change, but the monthly pay itself as a total stays the same. So we're not changing it.
Correct.
It wouldn't.
Nobody's getting anything.
All right, so-
That was why I suggested it, because I figure if we only have 2 meetings.
We agree meeting dates stay the same, 3 meetings a month, same pay,
Yes.
nothing's changing. along the
Nothing's
line.
changing.
Yes.
Beautiful. Let's move on.
No, wait, okay, now what are you doing about, did we get down to the 45 days yet?
That's
Then there's-
finance. We're not there yet.
That's what it was talking.
So you're trying to approve half of it and then do the other half?
Oh, my God.
We're just setting the meeting dates.
That just says discussion.
This
All
was
right.
not even a vote. This was just do we want to change our meeting dates?
And the answer was no,
Eventually.
maybe.
In a roundabout way.
Yeah.
All right.
Keeps up like
Anything-
this too is enough.
Yes, on the consent agenda next week will be the 2023 meeting calendar for approval.
All right. So
Thank
people,
you, Sandy.
people will have a week to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Vote accordingly in a week.
Next, Brenda.
I'm speechless. I have nothing
Well, thanks.
Oh,
for now.
Matt.
All right, microservicing project, Dale said that should have got approved last week. I forgot to confirm with him today. I assume that it's going to get approved by IDOT so we can get that closed out. No activity on the salt shed or got the Junction Way street reconstruction kind of on hold. Same thing with the Junction Road path to the south. The Edson Road, seal coat project, that's been closed out, so we'll get that one removed from the list next month. Dale's working on a cost estimate for Chris for a A1 and A2 seal coat on Junction Road from the village limits to Northwestern, so should have that to him too soon. Yep.
Can I want to add something real quick?
Yep.
Billy had asked us if we could get, if we could maybe do it as an emergency thing. Well, they're done. So it just for anybody who was wondering why we didn't go ahead is because they're pretty much done with it for the year's too cold.
Yep.
I just wanted everybody to know that. So
Not really.
we'll have all the information, later
Okay.
when Dale gets done with it.
Okay.
Chris.
Thanks, no problem.
And then the sidewalk replacement in front of the fire station, we're gonna obviously we'll work on a rebid date early in 2023. Nothing really with the Edson Road culvert replacement or the 72 sidewalks. Same thing for Village Hall assessment, kind of all quiet there. Harvest Glen Pass 10, any activity out there, Brett? All quiet?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They have 5 building permits they asked for, so next spring, I assume we'll have more word out.
Okay. And then the rebuild Illinois downtown Main Street capital grant, just waiting on the grant agreement. I did get an email response back from one of the 2 people that were on that kind of email chain. I was just asking about because we had one of their community that received a similar grant, and their grant agreement, they told them wasn't going to be, they might not receive it till March of next year. So I figured we were kind of might be in the same boat. So I did ask is there a way to get started with the design work, and we can do that because if we want to, as long as you're paying for the design work with the local funds and not with the grant funds, we could get started and kind of get the design work, the planning work done, design work done. So we're ready to bid. We can't do any construction, can't bid the project until we get the grant agreement, but we can at least start moving down the road, so to speak, with it. So I'll try to get, engineering agreement put together and get it to Sandy and everything for the planning work. And then we'll have the infrastructure design and then the building design and site work stuff. So try to have it ready. So we're ready to bid this thing as shortly after, we get the grant agreement, hopefully in the spring. So
Beautiful.
okay.
Anything further?
I'm good.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
For the committees, community development and events.
I am starting on our Christmas or community Christmas event. That is gonna be December 3rd, the first Saturday in December. December 3rd. And Santa and Mrs. Claus are gonna be there. I have some volunteer people have come forward, so we're kind of seeing how many volunteers we're gonna have what type of stuff we can. What
time?
I'm checking on that with my with Santa and Mrs. Claus to see what their best availability is. It's either, I'm assuming it's either going to be like a 4 to 6 or a 5 to 7. That's kind of what my ballpark is. So it'll be somewhere within those 2 hours. But we're just checking availability. So that's all I have.
Will there be wagon ride?
Will they be wagon rides?
No, because I can't get a horse and a wagon. Our biggest issue is our traffic here, and lots of them. The one that I had before, the only reason why I was able to get him is because he had a cancellation, but he has like all these towns that have their Christmas events. They all rebook with him right away. So their booking like is very slim. Their window is literally like nothing. And I've tried to find somebody local, but a lot of the people who are local don't have the horses that can do it, that aren't trained to do it. but one of our big issues is our traffic.
Didn't we do it one year with a tractor pulling something?
I had a gentleman that does it that came from Mendota, and he did it because the town who had booked him canceled, and he had it. And I had a friend who was friends with him and knew in the horse world, so that's how we had gotten him that year. But he is not available for our date anymore, so it's hard. It's just hard, and like I know for you, we had issues. Our traffic is so heavy around the fire station. Just it's hard.
Yeah, it would be with.
So it's, I mean, I'm open, Glenn, to any other ideas though. But that's all I have.
Oh, we want finance? That's gonna be you?
I guess so.
You just can't make a motion.
Well, we're talking about the resolution 2238. Basically the update on it is just for the outside meetings. When you submit them for approval, it must be no later than 45 days after the meeting you attend. And then we'll put them on a meeting agenda to approve. I think that is the biggest change.
All
Otherwise-
expenses, mileage, everything, or just
That's-
outside meeting pay?
That'll be under a separate resolution we'll update later.
Okay.
And we've also asked them to update that too.
So the only change in this is not anybody's compensation.
Nope.
It's just gonna be the responsibility of whomever that went to put to an outside meeting to get their information in within 45 days of attending that meeting.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution number 22-38, a resolution regarding elected official compensation, village president and village trustees.
Second.
John makes a motion to approve resolution number 22-38. Chris seconds. Is there any discussion on it?
Yes.
Well, Bill?
I don't think we can change that 45 days without affecting anything else in this whole resolution here, because of the if you change one thing, it means that you're giving us the power to change anything we want in here at any time we want, within respect of this 180 days. We just can't mess around with a document like this and say, well, we want to do this and we want to do that.
In truth, you can. And that's the whole point behind the board passing resolutions.
Why did this come up in the first place, this 45 days?
It makes bookkeeping a whole lot easier.
That isn't what was said last
We
week.
recently had some meetings
That
were
isn't
put
what
in
was
for that
said.
were over 45 days, and it's hard to verify.
Who was at the meeting?
What's that?
Who was at the meeting?
Who was at what meeting? The ones that.
Brenda
one you're
said
talking
the
about.
auditors are suggesting.
I wasn't at that meeting. Were you there?
Last week,
Last
Rick,
week.
were you there?
last week.
Were you not listening?
Not
you
the
last
last meeting here last week, but when they discussed the 45 days. This didn't come about
That was last
until
week.
trustee Lushinger was concerned that I had turned in some meetings and they were over 45 days.
Exactly.
That's when this came up. Not what you're trying to tell me about this meeting with the auditors.
No, I didn't tell you anything about auditors. I said it came up last.
She's
week.
talking auditors.
You're talking to me.
Okay.
I did not tell you that. What I told you was that it came up because we had some meetings, and I did not name names, that came in over 45 days after they were done to make finance, which is Williams'
Audit.
committee, better. It's easier to track this stuff as it happens
For the
rather than
audit.
go 30, 60, 90 days before we turn in meetings. Nobody was throwing you under the bus. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody stopped you from getting compensation. All we're asking is that people turn in their documentation within 45 days. That's a month and a half after you have a meeting to turn in your paperwork for your pay.
I've never,
That's the only thing we're changing. We're putting the onus on us.
now, have you ever put anything in over 45 days?
No,
I probably have.
You have.
but now you won't.
Now I won't be able to. If I do it again, I don't get paid.
And as far as I'm concerned, this all came up because I put in my stuff because
That might have been what triggered it to happen. but it's happened prior to this and it's hard to verify.
Yeah, we have another issue too, though.
What's that?
Well, the IRS says that when you get reimbursed for your own expenses, they should be turned in between 30 and 60 days. And for us to be compliant or have a compatible, I can't remember the exact wording. Did you look up that?
I did look it up. I did.
Yeah, you're supposed to have
Within a reasonable.
your reimbursables turned in between 30 and 60 days. Well, they say 30, no later than 60. Otherwise,
Right in the middle.
Otherwise, it's put in your pay and you'll be taxed for it. And if you don't have the policy, it's all supposed to be taxed. At least that's the way I read the publication. So we really should be amending both to have to be between the, so we have the reimbursement between 30 and 60 days. So we come into compliance with the IRS. Otherwise, everybody who gets reimbursed for anything they spent would go to their pay and they would be taxed on it. You know, I sent you that.
Yeah,
you know,
I read it.
Anybody wants to look at it, it's publication 463, and it tells you, you know, what as a company, and I know we're not a company, but we're still subject to it.
We're a corporation.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we're not private, so but we're still subject to it. So you're supposed to have any reimbursements turned in between 30 and 60, no later than 60 days. So we should probably amend again.
We are.
Later. Okay.
We are.
It,
Right.
So we're good.
it should not be
The
taxable
language that was put in here was approved by the attorneys.
Right.
by our attorneys.
Yes,
Okay, when did you talk to our attorneys about this document?
in the last week,
Doesn't matter.
Third Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
after we discussed
Okay.
it last week.
Okay, so, I had no one there to represent me from the village, right? To back up what I want to say.
You need to be.
Why-
Correct.
More than 45 days turning paperwork.
No, I'm not, I can,
Unless it's fraud.
Well, then you didn't need
What
to
I-
change up the
Policy,
meeting.
that's all it is.
you can pick up,
Policy.
our clerk can call the attorneys anytime she wants. I can't call the attorneys anytime I want if I have a question.
You guys all agreed that I could call them and ask whether or not this was a change in elected officials' compensation. This entire board, including you, had that conversation last week. And I said, do you want me to call? And Rick said yes, and William said yes, and everybody said that's a great idea. And there I called.
If it was said, fine, I'm remiss on it, but I don't recall and hearing that. You understand that?
There are there's the video out on.
I don't care what it is. She's always calling the attorneys.
Well, good.
Okay, now, I
think we have video to
I know.
prove that since you don't remember.
My question is, how come I don't have counsel with me here tonight being paid for by the village to represent what I want to say?
Council's not here.
Well, you don't need counsel. You're
Bill?
saying whatever you want.
They called they made contact with our lawyers and discussed this to try to make it airtight so that
Oh, yeah.
I can't be heard.
Bill,
You are being heard.
you got your pay, everything
I
is
don't-
done, just turn your stuff in before 45 days, it affects us all.
Yeah. Call the question, please. We don't.
I guess
Hold
it's on
on.
day 46, I'll return it.
So John made a call to question.
Yep, second,
I call the question his question. I don't.
Second.
for a
That's
second.
it.
So on the table is the call to question and the second and discussion. We do roll call.
Yep,
Roll
Jen,
call.
Yes.
Bill,
No,
John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Williams absent. You have-
All right, so the call to question has been approved. We will move on to the roll call vote for the resolution.
Bill,
no.
John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Williams absent, Jen.
Yes.
That motion passes 738.
Do you care if I ask you to vote just in case?
Yes. All right, so just to revisit resolution number 22-38, the only thing that changed in that resolution was requiring us as a board and members of the village staff to get our documentation in within 45 days after a meeting.
What is that? I can't hear. What is she saying?
It's reminding the village president of something to speak about
So
in one
the
moment.
other one for travel expenses and reimbursable expenses will be in the near future. That will be the other one that, again, in compliance with what Chris was saying with the IRS. to get this done between 30 and 60 days, 45 is a great place to be.
See, my only take is that even though you can build a village for something, okay, if you don't bill them for it and even though you're entitled to it, but you don't bill them for it, you can't get taxed in any way, shape, or form, or any other way for considered compensation until you actually get paid, until you submit that bill.
If you don't turn it in, we can't, we wouldn't know how much it was.
Right.
That's right. So, so this time limit
That
stuff
is on video.
with the government,
That's why we need you to turn it in, so we know how much to pay you, so we know how much to reimburse you, how much gets back and doesn't.
And 45 days is plenty.
More than enough time.
it's not
Say-
perfect because I
Say,
voted
Brenda, how
no.
would you feel if I went and bought a bunch of stuff and didn't turn in receipts?
That'd be great with it.
You can't buy anything
Some point-
with your
Why
money.
can't I buy anything?
You have to use a village credit card or
I buy
try to
stuff
get
all the time
reimbursement.
for things and I get reimbursed because I turn my stuff in for parties and events that I,
Yes,
We
we,
would love it if.
we
you-
understand that.
Didn't turn it in, it'd be great.
That would be ahead if she didn't turn it in.
well, I'm just saying if I took off with Rick's card and I didn't come back with the receipt.
You'd be in
Well,
trouble.
that's
That's another story.
Yeah, Brenda would hunt you
I'll
down.
try
I
it.
know, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah,
All right, anything further from finance?
no.
All right. Ordinance enforcement, Bill.
Nothing, Rick.
All right. John Parks,
No.
Chris Streets.
We talked about streets already, so we're good.
All right, Nathan, utilities.
Fergie, do I have anything?
Yes.
A tree.
Give me 1 second. I forgot to.
Yes.
Google updated their maps of the village. The overhead views are much better now.
Oh, are they? They're not
Yeah.
10 years old?
I'll start.
No, they,
You can-
Whose tree?
new enough that my patio's done.
Oh, wow, that is current.
Is my grass green?
I just finished that.
Alright.
Last year.
That's right, I
months
have
ago.
a tree issue, that's right.
You
I
get
can't-
to go. So I'm pulling.
We, I
Uh,
remember
I couldn't
now.
figure out
There's
which one.
regular trees in there.
What you talking about it, Sharon?
Do a street view on.
Where's my house then? Is that me? Oh, yeah.
No.
Those are some nice green trees though.
It is, but they're
Yep.
all
Here.
Oh, you
utilities.
talking about her trees. Yeah, she got some big trees.
I'm on
Do you
one
have a
side.
tree in your-
Alright.
Yeah,
There's, I had a lot of them for a
That tree?
while.
Yes.
You do that while I grab the photos real quick.
Did Nathan want to speak on this or does he want me to?
I maybe.
Step on his toes.
Didn't you want Fergie to speak on it?
Yeah, I feel a little bit more comfortable if you kind of explain the whole deal.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Yes,
So
please,
what we
yes.
have here is, correct me if I'm wrong, Sandy, 136 Harvest Glen. So you have basically several trees growing kind of as one. And what you may not be able to see, I'm not sure, but right in the front of that, about 4 or 5 foot away from the leading edge of those, is a sewer manhole. So, and if anybody is familiar with willow trees and their root systems, obviously I'm not as good as Nate Hill on this, but it's pretty obvious.
They're terrible to water.
Yes. So basically what is happening is the roots are growing into the sanitary sewer manhole. And we cleaned it out the other day. And there was actually, I believe Sandy will eventually have a photo of the actual root ball that is growing into the sewer main. I pulled out about a 2.5 foot tail out of the main.
Okay.
And then
That's it sitting in the bed of the truck.
that's, yes. And then you should have some other ones where the one with my,
In the
And-
structure.
this is all, you'll see there's pictures in the structure.
The manhole.
So that's in the structure and the ladder. Go back to the
Wow.
manhole. Are those roots? You can see the,
Yeah.
are those branches? No, there's roots going in every direction.
Coming down.
Yeah, there's roots going east, west, north.
Yeah, you.
They look like branches.
So basically,
You want to plug up your sewer line, plant a willow tree.
yes. So that's one of the photos of the ladder. That's the inside of the structure. So I cleaned all that out and then you'll see it one picture. So there's the root ball that was heading into the sewer main right there. So we cleaned all that out.
That was on our property and not the residents, right?
It's in the sewer.
Yeah, actually Is the, it within the right of way? Yeah, I believe the manhole was 20, if I remember correctly, it was like 29 feet off a center line. So yes,
Yeah, we have an exorbitantly large easement there.
Yes.
So we've got the standard 66-foot right of way, a 10-foot sewer easement, and a 10-foot utility easement. So we've got an additional 20 feet. Essentially, it's about 13 feet from the front of their house is where the easements end.
Yes.
So it is.
So the tree itself is right on the edge of our actual right of way.
But it's in the easement.
But it's in the utility easement and it's in, well, technically it's in the sanitary sewer easement and the utility easement. That's Kyle.
Yeah, because so this would be, where'd you say this was?
That, if I remember correctly, that was like 29 feet off center line. The manhole is
So
right.
This is still within our right.
Yeah, I believe the manhole, if I remember correctly, was still within the right of way.
Okay.
Either way, it's all within
20 feet that come this way.
Beautiful trees, but they're so destructive.
Really? Because I think that's an ugly tree.
Well, usually willows are pretty.
And there's a lot of branches.
They are great out in a pasture where they affect nothing or no one is
On
basically.
riverbank.
Yes.
Wow.
They are not meant to be near water, sewer, things like that. So it is quite a mess of tree.
Just as a reminder, I believe the last willow tree intrusion we had was $15,000.
Bingo.
So that's in case the public wonders why we worry about a willow tree. $15,000 on a residential lateral.
Yeah.
Didn't wait there.
And, you know, I did not do the homework on it, but one of the contractors that came and gave us a price, I won't name a name because I'm not 100%, but said that community no longer allows willow trees anyway. So
I'm going to pull a little sandy circle back here. So that sewer lateral at that residence was $15,000. It was plugged, if I remember right, about 4 feet of that was.
Yes, there was quite a bit in there.
And that's probably the most expensive one I've seen in the village yet. And that's part of the reason we offered that insurance that still get people thinking of scams.
We have it.
But
so her insurance is going to pay for this?
So I guess here's the discussion Fergie and I had, which is the reason that he talked to Nathan and then we wanted to talk to you guys about this is because it is in the easement. Rightfully, they cannot have anything there. Rightfully, they should have to pay the cost. How much do we want to spend to enforce that? And so I did ask Fergie to obtain 2 quotes for the tree removal, and he has.
What would entail getting rid of below ground?
So he did 2 quotes. Oh, you did 2 quotes. One for.
Each contractor gave us 2 quotes. One was for just cutting it off at ground level. The other part of the quote was for full root grind, grind as much as we can, even of the roots. So
this is the quote for just the tree removal without grinding it.
You almost have to grind the roots. You don't grind the roots, it'll keep growing.
That out of the. Is that gonna leave any damage?
All the 2 trees I took out kept growing.
I don't know about that. I don't know if roots can grow if you cut the tree down. How can they grow underground?
it absolutely can.
Well,
Certain trees.
well, it'll
Can-
still continue to try to grow again.
Seek water.
How much is that, Sandy?
I'm sorry, you can't see Nathan. 1,500.
But there's no
1,500
down there. Right?
Wait, 1,500 for how to do what?
1250 for the grind.
1,500 to remove the tree.
And the one said 1250 on it.
Yeah,
Hold on.
1250.
Are you proposing to have this thing ground up, the roots and that?
Yeah.
Would you like to see that done?
Well, the whole reason for the 2 quotes from each contractor was that way we were covered no matter how the board wanted to go about this.
Okay.
If they wanted the homeowner, the resident to take part in some of this, or if the village. So that's kind of why there's 2 quotes there. But if we're going to do it, everything needs to be taken care of. Yes. Answer your question. Yes. Roots and
What the other
I think we should eliminate the problem. If I don't know what to tell the resident,
Right.
Okay, too many people talking, but Nathan, I know you can't see this. So it's $2,750 to remove the stump and the tree and $1,500 to just remove the tree.
That's one quote. What's the other one?
We did not present you the other tree services quote because they were more expensive. So we are only presenting the cheaper of the 2 options that we received.
So
probably should always present the other ones though.
I have them.
Please.
So moving
way that shows that we're actually.
Hold on.
I don't know where we're at on a yes or no, but
How much were the other ones for?
Always.
$250 more than this one.
oh, that's it.
Both sections or?
No, I'm, to be honest with you, if you want my point of view on this, I'm not even entertaining cutting it off at ground level. We need to grind everything and be done with this tree.
Yeah.
So that's my personal
Yeah, I don't want to
opinion on it.
revisit this problem ever again.
So
Well,
unless we're going to talk to the resident about taking part in this, but that's up to the board. That's why we got the multiple quotes and
well, the only,
within a quote, so.
the only concern I have is, are we gonna go around then and cut down every tree that grows into the sewer system for free? If it's in the easement? 'Cause that's the precedent you're setting.
Yes.
I
So then
mean,
why would we? So when the roots of
But
my
you're
tree,
not supposed to have a tree.
so when the roots of my tree go into the easement, are we gonna take my tree down for free or just remove my roots?
Is your tree in the?
I don't have a tree anymore. it's a hypothetical.
Yeah,
I can
but
see
like-
people saying.
but is this the
I can see
homeowner
this
that
becoming-
planted that tree? Did they buy that way? Did it just
Oh,
fall
no,
from
they
the
planted
sky
that
and
tree.
grow?
They planted it.
Oh, and we know other people that have trees within the easement, some that have them in.
And we used to actually joke about putting copper screws into that tree.
Yeah, here's the other
I
quote.
mean, I agree we need to do, but moving forward, it's gonna cost us every time a tree gets in the
Oh,
easement, we
yeah,
gotta
that's
take
fine.
it out.
Just want to make sure, anytime we get quotes, please put them in there.
We should be checking.
So we have the
so that nobody's
transparency.
planting.
That's my point exactly, is we need to make sure that they're not doing this to begin with, so we don't end up this problem just continuing years down the road.
Point, but we-
Well, my point
Now,
is.
this is something that
So-
our ordinance enforcement team would take care of in the future, correct?
You know, I don't know about that.
Well, the
Yeah,
tree
but
probably
the
wasn't in the easement when
Would
it was
take care of
planted.
making sure people aren't planting trees in right of ways.
Hey, there's an ordinance violation.
But when it
I'm
was
sorry,
small,
Sandy, I
was it
didn't
in the
have
right
to
of
catch
way?
It will be.
It was within an easement.
Said it is an ordinance
When it was planted
violation.
as a little baby?
I believe we have ordinances saying.
Okay, so
got
going
it.
forward, our
Got it.
ordinance
Right.
enforcement team would be able to take care of that.
Technically, sound like a 50.
Yes.
feet, which can't do.
Problem is people do plant them and then when they start to grow and then they get too big, then it's an issue.
So when they plant them
That's why I'm
and
asking, 'cause
reseed them, we do call it out right away. We actually
Prior to
had
being
several
done.
people in Ogle Crossing who's had to move their
Yeah,
plantings. Cause
I-
if we see it when they're young,
Right.
calls it out to me and we take care of the situation.
Why they can
This
still do it.
unfortunately has been there probably as long as that home has been there.
That was, that's been there 1920.
Yeah.
That was there when I moved in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So moving forward, then we'll just make sure we stay on, well, we have been staying on top.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
we
yeah, now we
use,
have
we
a-
use Julie's, John, like when someone calls in a Julie to plant a tree or do stuff like that, that's part of what we do when we do a Julie, just so you know, is we confirm that if it is a tree, where it's going. So that, yes, we are doing that.
But how does that work then? Let's say a tree's root system that was not planted in the easement, but grows into the easement. How does that, are you going to then take care of the roots that are within the easement at our expense?
Well, sooner or later, you're gonna pay for it because once it hits our,
Okay, but that tree's been growing 20 years and nobody's paid for it except for us.
no, but it's hit our sewer system and if it.
That's what I'm saying though. So we're gonna,
Well, the whole point is,
what's the
we
alternative?
should have stopped it when it happened. We didn't, was when none of us were here.
But what's the alternative?
I took my trees out, so I'm not worried about it.
You-
I think it'll
No,
be.
but then
I think
we're
it's just
dealing
gonna
with
be
a case
easier
by
and
case.
cheaper
I think
if
we
you
have
just-
to take this.
It's gonna have to be in a case by case, thing.
Yeah,
Right?
I think in this
On
situation,
these,
it's just gonna be better if we
roots-
just take care
Oh,
of it.
pardon me.
Yep, let's take care of it, be done with it.
Okay, right, on these
think-
roots and the direction that they're growing, that's because they gravitate, the roots gravitate toward the water, correct? And all the water from the homes is supposed to be going away from your foundation.
It's
And-
willow. It's
correct.
gonna just-
Yes,
So there's probably gonna have to be a case by case basis, right?
yes,
Okay,
I would agree with that.
okay.
Take it down.
One final question, which I'm assuming I already know the answer to this regarding this tree is, once they do come in and do all the root grinding, now this is them hauling away the grindings because we have no place to get rid of them anymore. So they're going to haul the grindings, but there will be giant grind marks in the yards because we're having them go out and grind into the yards, where the surface roots are growing across the yards.
Yeah.
And we're also obviously grinding the massive tree thing that you saw.
Can we
there.
do that without permission?
Well,
Then
In our easement.
okay,
It's
so
all within our easement.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to notify those ahead of time, correct?
No, we don't.
Well, we will.
No.
We should.
We can, and we have in the past, like Jason Grimes had me send a letter to some
Yeah.
people before we went into their yard.
So
and
we're not
he
gonna
sent
grind
it out,
outside
but
our
We
easement.
have in the past, and then
But
there's
being
no
in these,
legal
if
obligation.
your question is restoration, being it's in the easement, we should restore.
yes, we will be restoring it. We're going to grind, most of the grinding will be east and west which will be within our easement, but if we have to go outside a little, we don't plan on going too far outside of it. Most of it will be, parallel with the easement, but we got to kill the roots. We got to get them out of there.
Yeah, but we
So-
should care about the ones.
Is there any treatment they can do to the roots that they can't get out, the stuff that goes deeper?
Grinding it should take care of most of it. So
'Cause they
So I
they
can
don't,
talk to them and see. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got some stuff to treat, but yes.
depending on how deep they go.
So the board's in favor of the village doing the work for and removing the stump and grinding for the 2750.
Correct.
Oh, so then next week on the consent agenda will be the approval of the quote for 2750.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
And we will restore it.
Okay.
In the
Yes.
spring.
Yes.
We'll get the holes filled in this year. It probably won't go grass, but we'll at least get everything leveled off. And then it wouldn't surprise me if we have to come in and maybe do a little overseeding next year.
I'll have a letter for you to sign next week to the homeowner too.
Giddy up.
All right.
We won't leave big holes in the yard for the winter.
And the homeowners, I would think, would be cooperative considering what could be the alternative if on their pocket. You don't think they'll be cooperative?
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
We will talk to them before.
Sharon?
We're sure we'll know by next week.
Oh, I just figured they would be.
Here by the
Anything
end
further,
of the
John?
week.
We're past John. We're down on utilities.
Not yet.
Anything further, Nathan?
I
Give it
believe
an
that
election.
Usually I skip John.
Oh, wait, that'd be
Nathan
streets.
said he believes that's it.
All
believe that is
we're
all,
moving on to
yes,
unfinished
unfinished.
business. Anything on the Verizon lease?
No.
I haven't heard anything
Nothing
from anybody
in
in 6
forever.
months.
Why is that still on there all the time?
Yeah,
What's,
probably is.
Because it's unfinished.
It's still ongoing.
They have big lawyers that like to drag their feet.
And they're-
They got new lawyers and we've heard nothing from them. Dan has heard
We made
nothing.
contact. That's all we did.
I think we
Yep.
You're gonna live with it. That's.
why don't we just take their stuff out and let them chase us? Why should we chase them?
They're
That would
still
be a
paying
bigger
rent.
mess if we
Yeah, what do we got now?
So I do have an update on the other
go
one.
cut the wire.
Okay,
I did receive finally some draft proposed leases.
wonderful.
I need
I
a
got the same number
trustee
that
to
somebody-
review them with.
Spam.
As William is slowly working his way out of the village.
Spam.
So I didn't know if maybe Chris you work with me on the LR leases because I did receive draft.
Oh, I just love to.
Okay, you have time for that?
I don't know. Why not?
Okay. So I will work with Chris on the draft leases that we received.
Okay.
And why is that? We have to do that again? I didn't want to miss anything. How come she has to,
Nathan,
I don't mind Chris working on the LR stuff.
hold on. Nathan, you were the one that William had already talked to about what the leases contained or should have contained in our right of ways, right?
Correct. We had a brief discussion many moons ago.
So how about I give it to Nathan and Chris and let those two hash it out?
Sounds good.
Wonderful.
You go ahead and take
I'm
the
fine
lead,
with
Nate.
that. I appreciate that. Thank you. So kind.
Dinner sudden.
Get better fast, Nate.
Bill?
Okay,
Okay, that's what I had. I thought I remembered that.
why can't Bill,
Who's Bill?
okay, William, Lusinger,
Oh,
so why can't he continue to work on our LR, on this Verizon lease?
Why can't he?
Yeah,
Well, he's not rerunning for the board. And he's slowly working his way out of position until that point.
Okay.
Reassign some of his.
yeah, I think Chris, you'll do a fine job on that.
Nate's gonna take the lead. Thanks, Nate.
thank you,
I
Nate.
totally
Can I
agree
call
that
you
Chris
Nate
is
or
gonna
Nate?
be so
Okay,
wonderful
thank
help with it.
Nathan, sorry.
Nate.
It's the
It's not me.
shorter hair, skinnier.
All right, I'm in favor.
All right.
What I call you one day?
Public.
Sure.
Same with the Y?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Make that mistake.
All right. Anything further from board members or staff?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
John makes a motion to adjourn. Chris seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed, say nay.
Control your meeting.
Adjourned at 7:58.